Mr. Ely, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Mr. Vokity. Doing well. How are you
I
doing?
should I should quit tapping. I'm tappy. I gotta
You are
stop being tappy.
you are tappy. I was listening to
I'm tired. I'm
that.
tired.
We seem to do these. We seem to always do these. We tee these up late at night when it's past our bedtime.
Yep.
Just carving
Yep.
out the time.
Yep.
Carving out the time.
It's okay.
It's all
Yeah,
right.
we'll find it.
Yep. Yep.
Um, hey, this week's Veterans, we celebrated Veterans Day. I want to say thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
No.
you for your service.
Thanks for the support. I mean, I echo that to all the veterans out there as well. It's we were discussing a little bit before we started this, and maybe we should take a little back. Someone's going to call us out if they listen to last week's. We mentioned we were going to get into hunting talk because it's the big hunting time frame here in Minnesota.
We
We're
can
in the
still
middle
do
of.
that. We got a little.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can do a little bit of that too.
we can do a little bit of that. But then I think we looked at the calendar. We're like, oh, Veterans Day. Like we should probably touch on that a little bit and kind of say our thank yous and kind of relate that because there's a lot of talk of let's see, soldier slash war slash battle and preparing yourself for battle versus good versus evil in the Bible. I mean, it's scattered all over the Bible, and we'll hit on a few of those things as well. Um, but yeah, no, happy belated Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. That's the service and sacrifice it's what lets us do this. It's why we live in this country and have a lot of freedoms that some are maybe taken advantage of, unfortunately. But hey, we're in a country where there is the freedom, and you know, thank God we can be Christian and not be persecuted, at least extremely persecuted. You know what I mean? Like China persecuted. Um,
Right.
so that's nice.
We were talking about this with our kids. We are incredibly blessed to have amazing veterans in our lives. Whether it be coaches, teachers, family friends, lifelong friends, extremely blessed. And our life, my life, and our life as a family and their lives because they're in it is dramatically better because of who they are. And it's just this call to serve, call to, I guess, preserve life and comfort and our way of life. I think that's an amazing thing. Um, I just thought about this now. Matthew 5, Jesus calls us to be people of salt and light. And how many people, veterans that I know, are people of salt and light? Like they display that in an amazing way. So Matthew 5:13 through 16, you are the salt of the earth. But if it loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled on underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Um, there's a lot of veteran friends of mine and people in my life, family members that they do. I mean, they're not. They're so humble about their service that sometimes they don't want to talk about it, but they continue to live this life of service even outside of the military. They're continuing to find ways to serve their community as a coach or as a teacher or as a para or as a firefighter or like the list goes on and on and on. Law enforcement, whatever it is, they continue to do that, and it's so amazing. They just want to help, you know. It's awesome, awesome stuff. So thank you so much, veterans. You were telling me that you got a tattoo when you were in the Army on your back, Psalm 91. What?
Psalm 91:4.
Mm,
When I was down at basic, I met a group of guys and we were in Fort Benning, Georgia. And so it's an all male infantry division of the military. I mean, I guess maybe there's females there now. There wasn't then. Um, but yeah, it was the coolest thing. We had this group of guys that, I mean, ragtag group, right? I mean, they're just tearing you down the first few weeks of basic training and trying to weed out everybody. We ended up, I think, a few weeks into it, we had a group of, gosh, I don't know, 10 different guys from all over the country. I mean, Maryland to Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, me in Minnesota. And we're all like meeting around a bunk and like praying at night. Cause like you had no connection with the outside world. All you had was the guys in the room with you. Um, and we all kind of dove into scripture and prayer. And one of the guys in my unit, super artistic, drawing, like he could draw super, super well. So he actually said, hey, and what they were hitting on hard, and I have somewhere around, I was telling you about, I have like a military Bible I was given when I was there. It's like a short little camel Bible, like a pocket Bible. And they really talked about Psalm 91 it's kind of a big, safety of abiding in the presence of God. It's a great military chapter. And I was reading it, and I have to disclaim, I was a pretty diehard Tom Petty fan growing up. So give
yeah,
you the full context. Um, and I was reading it, and verse 4 just was like, okay, this is cool. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. And I was like, he will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall take refuge. I'm like, and then I was kind of putting the whole like Tom Petty learning to fly spin on it. And a lot of my buddies growing up and stuff knew like that was my jam. That was just like, I've always said like, we're just like learning to fly, but we ain't got wings. So we're going to fail. We're going to, I kind of was tying it together. And so anyway, so he drew up on a college rule notebook. Like he drew up the design, the rampart, the shield, the feathers, the wings, the everything. He drew it up. And when I was at basic, well, then you can't leave and do anything during basic. But after basic at AIT, where you do your job training, you get to go off base and, you get passes for the weekend and stuff. Well, a bunch of 18, 19-year-old, I mean, and obviously there's other ages, but a lot of 18, 19-year-old men with not much money, but a little bit of money to blow. What do? They go, there's a tattoo parlor shop literally right outside the base called, I think it was called Ranger Joe's or something, is what it was called, like Ranger Joe's or something like that. So, yeah, we went there and I literally brought this sheet in and was like, hey, can you take this? And he literally, so it's exactly the drawing this guy wrote on a piece of paper is exactly what I got blown up and as a piece on my back. With Psalm 91:4 on it. So that's where, yeah. So Psalm 91 has always had a piece of me for years now.
yeah,
And I mean, there's a lot of good verses in Psalm 91 that kind of give you that, if you're battling anxiety or stress or fear, or just need to kind of saddle up and get pumped up for something that's, you know, maybe you're just going into battle. I mean, whatever it is that, so Psalm 91's that chapter for me. And there's a lot, we might touch on a few others. We were talking about a couple just prior to this that, there's a lot of good ones in the Bible where I think it is just it's preparing you for battle against good versus evil. So, that's what yeah.
I I think it's interesting. So you have Psalm 91, verse 4. 1 and 2 are whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. And I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Man, there's a lot of trust. We entrust our safety to these men and women that protect us every day, doing jobs that we know nothing about. I think it's pretty awesome stuff. That brings you into like Isaiah 6. Send me, right? Send me. I suppose I can find it in my Bible, Adam. Come on. But it's a different. Not everybody runs to the fire, right?
Oh yeah,
Not
yeah.
everybody runs to service. And I'm not saying that the people that don't do that are bad, but obviously we are blessed to have these people in our lives that protect us when we get to sleep in a warm bed, and they're
Yep.
abroad somewhere, you know. And I never served, so I'm not even going to claim to or act like I know what that's like at all. No idea. No idea. I know what it's like to be away from family, like working on the road. But that's not even close. That's not even close. You made a comment before we were talking about this, and you were saying like that you referred to yourself as government property, and I was like, I never thought about that.
I mean, that's why it's
like
G.I. Joe, government issue. G.I. Joe. Yeah. I think you literally sign when you sign up, you basically sign up for something and pretty much it says you are government property.
I never thought about that.
What do you go in Isaiah 6 verse like 9 or 8?
God, that's good. 6 is, then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here I am, send me." And he said, "Go tell this people, be ever hearing but never understanding, be ever seeing but never perceiving. Make the heart of this people calloused, make their ears dull, and close their eyes. Otherwise they might see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their hearts, and turn and be healed." And then I said, "For how long, Lord?" And he answered, until the cities lie ruined, without inhabitant, until the houses are left deserted, and the fields ruined and ravaged, until the Lord has sent everyone far away, and the land is utterly forsaken. Although a tenth remain in the land, it will again be laid waste. But as the terebinth and the oak leave stumps when they are cut down, so the holy seed will be the stump in the land. We read that verse in Isaiah, and it's just like, "Here I am, send me." But the back half of that chapter describes almost like a war-torn city without inhabitant. You know what I mean? Like here,
A town that you would
saying,
classify as evil.
"Send me."
Yeah,
Right.
like a war zone. You'd classify this as evil, but yet, there's still a tenth of them that there's still good in there. Mixed in. Yep. Yep.
Send me. I'm 10 years older, almost 10 years older than you. So we were talking earlier that like most the people in my generation were at the onset of the war on terror. And I mean, I've had friends that have been deployed 6, 7, 8 times. Um, Man, I don't even know what that's like. No idea. So I can't even imagine. I don't even know how to start a conversation with that. I just listen. in awe of what they say. Some are pretty open about talking about their time in the military, and some don't talk a lot about it. So I just listen, and I'm grateful that they're in my life. That you know, that's it. I don't.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's probably even. I mean, even so, when I joined, my unit had they weren't far removed from a. God, they did like I think it was almost 2 years, a 2 year deployment almost. It was all of 20 months
Wow.
because. And what's crazy is when they got sent originally, I think it was supposed to be like a 9 month. And then while they're there, oh, hey, we're extending you to 14 months. Oh, hey, we're extending you to 18 months. Oh, hey, we're extending. So, like, there's no preparing. Like, you can try to prepare for 9 months. Okay, hey, my family, hey, whatever. I'm going to be gone for less than a year. I'll be back. Oh, wait, never mind. I'm going to be gone almost 2 years. And I had no say in it because you're government property. You don't get to just go, I'm done. I'm leaving now. See ya. I'm out, you know? So yeah, there was some guys that they went through some stuff. They did yeah. I always, it was one of those things like you almost have, there's like a culture in the military a little bit. And I don't think it's right. And I'm not saying every unit has it, but when you get into a unit and you have the people that have the combat patches or the deployment patches, and you don't have anything, you're just I know you're like a nobody, you know. And I'm
Right.
not saying that like that's not how I think, because if you sign up for the military, you are government property. You don't get to pick. Oh, hey, I get deployed now. Like I got deployed, so it's whenever the government sends you, you get sent. Some people can be in the military for 6 years and get deployed 3 times. Some people can be in the military for 20 years and never get deployed. It's just there, and there's probably games within the game on how, you could probably work around not getting deployed, but I don't know. I at the end of the day, it's still you're probably not going to rank up. There's probably going to be issues if you're, 20 years in, you've never deployed for the wrong reasons. You're probably not super far in your career anyway. You might have done the time, but not really moved up either. So you know. But yeah, I just think that's interesting. That was always something I thought was like, yeah, I couldn't really see, I didn't really know what they were going through. Like the guys that were super close because they were there 20 months plus over in the sandbox, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I did what, 6 months or so in Fort Benning. Well, that ain't, that ain't nothing compared to what they went through. So I didn't have nothing to talk about with them.
Right. Right. Yeah. Uh, it, I don't. Um, it's interesting. There's been a lot of times in our um, country's history where there is peacetime and they're soldiers in peacetime. Well, that doesn't make their service any less valuable, you know. That hurry up and wait and the patience to be ready and then trained and to be ready and to to be at the edge of that all the time and then do nothing. Man, that I'm not good at getting wound up and then just sitting there. I'm not good at that. So I'm glad that there's people that are. I
Yeah.
am not.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that at all. So um, that's a struggle, and I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about. I don't, but I would
No,
assume
you're spot on.
I'm yeah. Um, and those and yeah, people sign up for the military for different reasons, but you also know that uh, like at any time anything can happen. So you know, sign up before 9/11, and oh, by the way, tragedy, mass tragedy. A strike on the United States on its soil. You know, like thousands dead. Okay, man. I don't even want to know. I probably wouldn't have handled that well if I would, either like I couldn't be in the military because of um, a heart defect and have an open heart surgery, but I probably wouldn't have done well in the military either. So I just know that, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and think about it. We have like it's voluntary. We have the best military that's ever been. And I know people are going to argue and go, well, this time, and there were warriors this time, but we have the best military ever to see the face of the earth, and it's voluntary. That's there's no forced conscription in the United States. That's that's amazing.
Well, and I think
That's
it's
amazing.
it's where you draw true love for one's country, true love for one's neighbor, I'm
Yeah.
not saying, in any profession, no matter what it is, military, non-military, there's always some people that make something look construed and give it a bad rep because guess what? We're all still human. We all still sin and fall short of the glory of God. And there's people that, evil infiltrates inside and mistakes are made. But I think if you break it down to that rung of like signing up is literally just love. I mean, it's so much love. And I don't think you'd go up to look at someone in uniform and be like, "Oh, that's so much love." Like that the uniform could be full of hearts instead of camo. But I mean, John 15 verse 13 is a pretty popular military poster, military sign and I actually have one of a soldier. I think you can probably still buy them at Shields. It's like a, military soldier in full battle gear and he's got red, white, and blue wings over his back, and it says John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. And I'm like, that sums up the military, voluntary love. If you know, what more can you do for a neighbor or for a friend than be willing to lay down your life for them, you know?
Right.
So, and that's what I think makes our military so great is because of that, what you said, the voluntary side of it. And, I break it down as love, whether some of them look at it that way or not. Um, you got to have that love to be able to live with that or your family. Be like, hey, you know, I might never come back. So
Right.
yeah,
I that's such a good point. Um why else would you do it? Like, is it like it's not a maybe some people think they're going to be a war hero, but those are the ones that aren't. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's some
yeah,
people, yeah, there's a lot of alpha male, there's a lot of there's a lot of chest beating and there's a lot of and that's okay, but at the same time, if it wasn't in love and it wasn't in service, could you imagine the havoc that they could wreak and don't?
yeah, yeah,
That's the true definition of meekness, you know? I mean, here's a group of people that they hearts and minds, right? Like we were in the Middle East for 20 years trying to sway hearts and minds. Hmm. Well, I mean, I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but like they they weren't in there doing bad things. There was groups of people that were doing bad things. So, how do you be offensive so that doesn't come over here? Thank God it never came over here, right? Thank God.
yeah. It's it ties into servant leadership, kind of we've been talking about recently and diving into more is, military is, I mean, you think of military, you think of leaders, right? You think of structure, you think of higher rank, you think of rank and all that stuff. And like, you think of leaders, but it's all of it is servant leadership because they're all volunteers, you know? I mean, yeah, you work up into positions, but those great leaders are the ones that, don't put themselves on a pedestal. They can be a leader when they need to, but they can also be a grunt when they need to be a grunt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very interesting how you can tie it together, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Hey, veterans, thank you so much for your service. And hopefully some veterans are out hunting.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think we were kind
Probably
of
good
preparing
therapy.
for, right. We were kind of preparing for maybe talking about hunting in the Bible. And I discovered something this week in a little bit of research. We don't fully research this, guys. If you're listening, we just kind of like, hey, maybe we talk about this. Acts chapter 10. Here, let me try and find it in my Bible. I'm sorry, I didn't have it. Acts chapter 10 kind of starts at verse 9 ish, but it's Peter's vision. And I think, I mean, this is just what I see is God is the Holy Spirit's working in Peter to, I don't want to say take away some of the religious side of him, but Acts chapter 10, verse 9. Well, maybe we don't need to talk about that, but let's say chapter. Well, we'll just read it. Yeah, chapter 9, chapter 10, verse 9. About noon the following day, as they were on their journey and approaching the city, Peter went up on the roof to pray. And he became hungry and he wanted something to eat. And while the meal was being prepared, he fell into a trance. And he saw heaven open up and something like a large sheet being down to earth and being by its four corners and contained all kinds of four-footed animals as well as reptiles and birds. And then a voice told him, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat." "Surely not, Lord," Peter replied. "I have never eaten anything impure or unclean." And the voice spoke to him a second time, "Do not call anything impure that God has made clean." This happened 3 times. Immediately the sheet was taken back to heaven. And while Peter was wondering about the meaning of the vision, the men sent by Cornelius found out where Simon's house was and stopped by the gate, and they called to ask if Simon, who was known as Peter, was staying there. While Peter was still thinking about the vision, the Spirit said to him, "Simon, 3 men are looking for you. So get up and go downstairs. Do not hesitate to go with them, for I have sent them." And Peter went down and said to the men, "I am the one you are looking for. Why have you come?" And the men replied, "Why have you come from Cornelius the centurion? He is a righteous and God-fearing man who is respected by all the Jewish people. The holy angel told him to ask you to come to his house so that he could hear what you have to say." Then Peter invited the men into the house to be his guests. In this vision, in this event with Peter, God's telling him to hunt, and it's not unclean. That's interesting. I never associated that with hunting before, but Peter's frame of mind going, I can't hunt that or I can't eat that because it's unclean. And he's being told you can because I made it you know. Now I wonder if there's some. It's interesting. There's some weight on diet in the Bible in a huge way. I'm actually reading a little book called the Biblio Diet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's for me. I like protein too much. we might we might do a couple meals like this, but yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I never God's asking Peter to kill and eat. Our kids, my kids, live a different life. We butcher our own chickens. They've seen me process deer many times. Um, Ours never goes to a butcher shop. It's done in our garage. Um, you know, and I think that food connection to what they eat and actually see happening, whether it's from a garden, whether it's from livestock, whether it's from hunting, that changes diet in a big way. Big way. Um, there like the Bible was written. There's a lot of agronomy type references in the Bible. Whether it's about sheep, whether it's about hunting. This isn't a full hunting. A lot of the hunting verses are about dominion over animals. A lot of them take place with Genesis and whatnot. But um, I don't know.
I think you go over I mean, literally, you just said dominion, and I was flipping through Psalms more. I guess I'm just kind of getting stuck in there, which isn't a bad place to get stuck. But Psalms 8, Psalms 8. If you start at verse 4, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visit him? For you have made him a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honor. You have made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, even the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea, that pass through the paths of the seas. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. So it's that dominion thing. I think it's there's a stewardship we have for God's creation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a respect of life. And I think hunting is, while it's not for everybody, I'm not saying you have to hunt at all.
Nope.
But I think
Nope.
if you can understand I mean, how humans exist, it's why we exist. There had to be hunting to find food to survive. I mean, now, yes, you can go to a grocery store and buy it, but I won't get deep into it. I mean, that animal's killed or butchered or slaughtered in a lot of more inhumane and more disgusting ways than someone sitting out hunting a wild animal and taking it with a lethal shot of a rifle or a shotgun or a bow or whatever it is, because they practice their skill and they want it to be merciful. I don't know any hunters that go, I want to go out and wound something. I want to go make something suffer. You know, that's not a hunter. That's just evil. Uh, so yeah. I mean, there was one. I was Proverbs 12, verse 27. Where I had it here. Proverbs 12, 27. So then this is what am I using here? This is a New King James version. So it's a little bit different, but so it says, the lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting, but diligence is man's precious possession. So, take that into smaller
That's the
words.
same in the NIV. That's the
Okay.
same in the NIV.
Yeah. I mean, the lazy do
Yeah.
not roast any game, but the diligent feed on the riches of the hunt. Hunting is used here as a symbol of diligence and hard work, so I think there's some appreciation that goes into it.
This is Genesis 9:3. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything.
So we made it 9 chapters into the Bible, and it's telling you, eat up.
Well, I mean, yeah. There's the so that is I believe that's after the flood. You know, yeah. So that would be yeah. This is when
Yep.
God's creating a covenant.
It's
with
right
Noah.
after. It's right after the
So
flood. Yep.
yeah,
Because
right after the
6 through 8 is Noah's Ark and the flood.
Mm-hmm. Yep, man.
And that's the first time. Yeah, 9 through. Yeah, everything that lives and moves. But yeah,
Yep. You know, a connection to your food, whether it's from the garden or from hunting. And I guess I don't really know any unethical hunters. Growing up in the Midwest, it's kind of a rite of passage as a guy, and I think it's great that it's a girl. Like your wife is a hunter. That's amazing. Um, my wife just helps me process the animals.
hey,
I
that's
guess. Like,
that's no easy task.
yeah. But yeah, and I think that's an awesome thing. Catherine, our 8-year-old, she wants to come hunting as soon as she's able to, and I'll bring her. I think that's I'm stoked to have her be able to be out there with me, and uh, I think as a guy too, this is you can show I try and find different ways where I can show my heart and the person God made me to my children. Being outdoors is one of those things, you know. Um, Teaching them how to potentially feed themselves is one of those things. So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think hunting has
it's
a
a
lot
different.
of. Go ahead.
Well, I think it may be different growing. I don't know. I maybe people from other parts of the country could tell like how cultural different it is. Like where I grow up, where I grew up, we process the animal like we don't bring it in. Some people some people bring it in, you know, to have it processed by butchers and whatever. We never have. And that's okay. There's nothing right or wrong either way. Um, but that's one of those cultural things that changes. But growing up in the Midwest, it is a rite of passage. It is almost like a holiday, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
and I think hunting is also there's a beauty in it, and there's a appreciation for wherever you hunt. I mean, there's a whether it's back in the woods or on a field edge or in the mountains or prairie or wherever it is, bluffs. There's a beauty there that God created that, and you're out there, hunting to provide food for your family or friends or whatever. Um, so I think that his work is honorable and glorious. His righteousness endures forever, and he has made his wonderful works to be remembered. The Lord is gracious and full of compassion. He has given food to those who fear him. He will be ever mindful of his covenant. He has declared to his people the power of his works in giving them the heritage of the nations. You know, I mean, that's a little more Psalms, diving into some Psalms 111 there, but you know, his work is honorable and glorious. So you get to be out in that glorious and honorable work that he made in hunting. So it's just it's an opportunity to find yourself closer to God too, because it forces you to be away from the distraction, away from the social media world, away from you kind of have to be forced to disconnect to go do it to hunt in a lot of ways. I'm not saying you can't hunt somewhere where you have cell phone service and sit on your phone the whole time. I'm not saying you can't do that, but you're at least forced probably some levels of discomfort to, whether it's lack of sleep or whatever it is to go and try to hunt. And I think that is a healthy thing.
This it's kind of reminded. It's funny how that psalm reminded me of a John Muir quote. John Muir was a naturalist, one of the, I think, main voices that got Yosemite National Park. And so he says, everybody needs beauty as well as bread, places to play in and pray in, where nature may heal and cheer and give strength to body and soul alike. Well, that's what it does. That's what hunting does for me. Being an outdoorsman does for me. And like something that isn't talked about is the drama of creation. You're sitting in a deer stand 10, 12 feet in the air, and you're literally watching the like days of our lives with these squirrels, right? And
Yeah.
it's kind of awe-inspiring in a way. They're kind of annoying, but you're like, I wonder if she's mad at him because he didn't. I see what's going on. And
Yeah.
and I have an imagination.
Turn it into a sitcom.
Yes. This is the Friends. This is that Friends episode, like.
Yeah. No.
Oh, that's totally Joey. Oh yeah, I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely that squirrel.
But there's an awe of creation. I remember the first time I shot a deer on our own property, and I brought the kids to it, and they saw me gut the deer, and like I flopped him over, and his tongue came out. And Leland's like, "Can I touch his tongue?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's fine." And he's like, "It's warm." And I was like, "Yeah, he was alive like 5 minutes ago." But for them to just, like, that's the closest they'd have ever been to a deer.
Yeah.
And I mean, we live in the middle of Minnesota, and like the deer that we hunt are bean and corn fed deer, and Kat's like, "Dad, he smells like corn chips." And I was like, "Yeah, that's how they're supposed to smell." Like,
yeah.
And if you're not a hunter, like, you don't know those things, and like these memories are already being associated in like with her understanding creation, like, oh, a deer is supposed to smell kind of like a barn, kind of like a farmyard, and then kind of like corn chips. Like, that's how it's supposed to smell, And I'm like, and I've just been around them so much that I guess I forgot. And then she said that, and I'm like, yes, I forgot all about that. But
yeah. And that kind of ties you back into home, right? Like if you were out in the mountains, they'd probably smell like sagebrush, and it'd be a totally different, aroma, but it would take you back to wherever that is, so you get to, it always kind of grounds you back to a memory. And I think that's part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And how many times have you been in a deer stand and just sat there and watched a mom and some Bambis just hanging out?
Yeah. No care in the world. Well, mom's always checking everything out, but the Bambis have no idea.
Right. And it's fun to watch. Fun. I've been in a stand and watched coyotes like trying to like create a strategy of how they're going to get this doe that's a couple hundred yards away, and one's like dancing, and like nature does amazing stuff, and it is all God's creation, Kat, 8-year-old, she's the oldest, she's kind of type A. And some of my prayers lately with her as a dad have been going like, God has this, right? God's in control. And I'm more eloquent when I pray with her about that. But I want her like to trust in the Lord that she can just like, she doesn't have to carry it all. You know, God's going to do things for her. And in my own heart, being out in nature, I can see that God's got a plan bigger than I am. Like, I do nothing to feed that deer, right? The raccoon that you ran over, I had no part in that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's a bigger plan and a scheme, and God's holding it all up. When you get into nature and see that, like bang, you know what I mean? Like you know, yeah, you got to do what you have to do, and then you can do what you want to do. But God's got it all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you don't got to carry it all. You don't got to juggle it all. Maybe that's the hope that some of these non-believers can see in us. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, you don't have to carry it all.
These two have nothing figured out.
Not a thing.
Yeah.
Here's just a bunch of Bible verses that we like, and we
Yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I meant just us in general. Yeah. These guys have no idea what's going on. These guys are crazy. Yeah. No, I think, once again, yeah. Thank you. All the veterans out there, appreciate your service. Those that are serving right now, appreciate it. You have my utmost respect. And hunters in the woods, or going to be in the woods again, or wherever you hunt. Yeah, hey, enjoy that, connect with that. Stay safe, and, good luck. I think what you're doing is awesome, and, providing for family and friends, and that's a pretty cool thing to do.
Absolutely. Dear God, amen.
Dear God, amen.